What's going on, guys? So I have a confusing problem for you all today. So I came out to the RV after this torrential downpour that we've had for the last couple of days, and I was actually going to go inside to put something in the RV. Well, I came out to my front basement area, flipped my power disconnect switch on, and instantly my furnace fan came on. It's currently blowing air out here as well as in the floor vents inside. Now, if I turn this off, it shuts off. If I go to my thermostat, which is the Coleman XC, it's the one made for 3 or 4 zones. I don't think they've put it in any other Coachman fifth wheel ever. So this was one of the prototype components that went in mine because of the 3 AC units. Well, it is actually off. So the entire system is off, yet this is kicking on. So I know some folks will say the high limit is possibly stuck or jammed. Well, nothing has changed to the RV with it sitting out here. We haven't taken it out since this problem started happening. So I came out a couple days prior and everything was working fine. I come out to turn the power disconnect back on now, and now my furnace fan is blowing. You guys have any idea what this could be? I already called Coachman. I called their normal customer service line, and they're going to give me a call back after they speak with one of their electricians to see what it might be. Everything's been working great with the AC units, so I don't have any issue there. I'm just trying to figure out what might have happened here to cause the furnace blower to continually kind of be stuck on. So if you guys know, I'd love to know. And then one other thing I've done to diagnose it is I went to the breaker fuse panel and I popped the furnace fuse out, and it does shut it off, and the little light comes on indicating that it's either a burnt fuse or a missing fuse. I put the fuse back in and it does not come back on. So the fan stays off unless I go to the thermostat and I turn the fan on. So that's the big question mark here. Well, I then gave it about 4 hours. I came back out, flipped this back on now, and the furnace fan kicked back in. So it's very interesting, right? When I pop the fuse out and put it back in, it shuts off, and I'm able to turn it on through the thermostat. But if I give it a couple of hours, I turn it off and I turn it on here, or at least the main power to the unit, the furnace fan kicks on, and it's on right now, and it's blowing air out of the floor vents. It doesn't sound like the igniter's kicking in, so it doesn't sound like it's actually trying to pull gas, and I have the gas turned on just to see. It's just blowing kind of outside air. But I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm going to see what the folks over at Coachman say when they call me back. I don't know if they're going to know the answer to this, again, because this Coleman thermostat that's in my unit has never been in a Coachman fifth wheel product before. I think they put it in some of their Class A, Bs, and Cs. Well, Class A's and C's because it's a multi-zone unit, but it's never been in a fifth wheel, so it's going to be interesting to find out what the issue could be. Thermostats are pretty simple products, right? They're not very complex. I'm sure the thermostat itself is complex, but the wiring generally isn't. And again, everything's been working great. The ACs turn on. I have no problem with that. It's just right now when I turn the power disconnect on, the furnace starts blowing air. Kind of makes me think water could have gotten into the circuit board because of all this heavy downpour. Maybe it worked its way back here somehow. I really don't know. But yeah, definitely got to investigate what might be happening here. So yeah, a lot of folks might say that perhaps I'm giving my new Coachman Brookstone a bit of a hard rap in terms of, you know, some of the little issues and some of the things I've been nitpicky about. And this was actually a conversation that I had with Coachman before we started the whole collaboration. I wanted to be 100% real with my subscribers. They knew that from the very beginning. That's one of the reasons why they installed a lot of the upgrades on the fifth wheel without making it kind of a collaboration where things were provided to them to be installed. The reason why they did that is because they knew from the very beginning when we talked that I'm going to critique this unit, that I'm not going to really keep anything from my viewers because I owe it to you all. I know a lot of folks think, man, if you're a YouTuber and you're getting stuff, you're obviously getting it for free, or you're getting it heavily discounted, or you're getting all these perks behind it. But the reality with this unit is I paid for this unit. And because of that, I feel I owe it to you all, I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the manufacturer to critique the unit to the best of my ability so they know what's going on, so my viewers know what's going on, and I'm very real and open and honest. And I think I've done that since I've started my channel. I don't like keeping things from my viewers in terms of problems that I could potentially be having, because you may have the same problem. You may not even own a Coachman product. You may own some other brand, and you're having some type of an issue, and if I share with you my issue and what I'm doing doing to resolve it, then it kind of makes it a universal fix for a lot of other folks. The valances, when I talked about that, believe it or not, a lot of people that commented told me they have other brands like Grand Design and Columbus and all these other brands that have the same type of issue. So me fixing it on my Coachman Brookstone might help someone else fix it on their unit. Or it might actually change the way the manufacturers approach the type of install that leads to a problem. The issue with the furnace, right? This is something that I have no idea what the issue could have been caused from. Again, we've had a lot of rain, and this has been sitting in storage through the rain, so potentially rain could have somehow crept in somewhere and caused damage to a circuit or caused something to short out. Who knows? We're investigating it. We're going to get it fixed. It's a component that Coachman does not manufacture themselves. Again, I think I talked about this during the factory tour I did. RV manufacturers, for the most part, are assemblers. They're not necessarily building every component. Actually, they build very few components. They take the components and they assemble it onto the frame. And the frame isn't even their own frame. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Anytime you're critiquing a product, you have to realize that, you know, an AC failure or a furnace failure or a refrigerator or stove, those are all components that are sourced by the RV manufacturer and then installed into the unit. So oftentimes a problem that you might have with the stove on this unit could very well be an exact same type of problem you have with that same stove on a Grand Design unit or on a Lux or some other type of product that may use that same product. Now, again, not everything is shared across every RV manufacturer, but for the most part, whatever component you find in here is likely going to appear on probably a dozen other brands. Coachman just uses those components to assemble their fifth wheel into a floor plan with features that they think you're going to like. And that's essentially how the whole RV industry works. It's an assembly process. Even the sidewalls, they're brought in from a different factory or a different plant where they're assembled, laminated, glued, all of that. They're brought in and then they're assembled on the specific type of fifth wheel that your manufacturer is working on. So again, even though this was a collaboration with Coachman, what I had told them from the beginning is the exact same thing I told the folks over at Van Lee whenever we had our 6-month beacon that we were reviewing. If there's problems, I'm gonna share them, even if they're small. I know some people say it's nitpicky. Nitpicky problems tend to be problems that most RVers have, and how I resolve that issue, or if it's a resolvable issue, how the manufacturer approaches it and what we get done about it is ultimately the story. That's what we want to find out, how we fix it. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. So please don't give me too much grief if you see a lot of videos on little tiny things, because these are little tiny things everybody could be having regardless of the brand that they have. And I just want to share it with you all because a fix for me could very well be a fix for you. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I will follow back up with whatever this furnace problem is and let you guys know. Anyways, we'll talk to you again very soon.